There is something within you right now, a longing, a hunger, a deep cry from the depths of your soul that you may not even be able to put into words. It is the greatest cry of humanity, the same cry that has echoed through the hearts of men and women throughout history. It is the longing to know, to feel, to experience something greater than yourself. It is the longing for His presence. And yet so many live their lives searching in churches, searching in preachers, searching in books, in philosophies, in wealth, in success, but never finding what their soul truly longs for. Some say, if only I could see a miracle, then I would believe. Others say, if only I could feel something, then I would know He is near. But oh dear one, I tell you today, He is not found in emotion alone. He is not found in striving. He is found in surrender. The greatest mistake we make is believing that we must work our way into His presence, that we must achieve some level of perfection before we can experience Him. But the presence of God is not earned, it is received. It is not grasped by the strong but given to the weak. It is not for the learned alone, but for the childlike heart that dares to believe. Oh, if you only knew how close He is to you at this very moment. If you only knew that He stands at the door of your heart, waiting, longing for you to lay down every distraction, every fear, every doubt, and simply say, "Here I am, Lord. I want you more than anything." You see, the presence of God is not distant. It is not reserved for a special few. It is not something you must chase across the world, running from one place to another, hoping to catch just a glimpse of glory. No. His presence is here, right now, closer than the very breath in your lungs. But to find Him, you must lay aside self. You must surrender every piece of you that fights for control. You must step beyond the noise, beyond the distractions, beyond the voices that say it's not real, and enter into the quiet place where His whisper can be heard. And when you do, when you do, you will never be the same again. The worries that tormented you will fade. The fears that gripped your heart will loosen their hold. And you will find not just peace, not just joy, but the very one your soul has been searching for all along. This is why you must listen. This is why you must not turn away. Because today is not just another day. Today is the day of encounter. Today is the day where everything can change, if you would only dare to believe. He is here. Will you find Him? There is something deep within every human soul, a longing that cannot be silenced, a hunger that cannot be satisfied by anything in this world. It is an unspoken desire, often misunderstood, often misdirected, but always present. A yearning for something greater, something beyond ourselves. People spend their entire lives trying to fill this void, searching in places that promise satisfaction but leave them emptier than before. Some chase after wealth, believing that financial success will bring the fulfillment they seek. Others pursue power, thinking that influence and control will make them whole. Some believe that love and relationships will complete them, while others turn to entertainment, distractions, or even substances to numb the ache they cannot explain. But no matter how much they attain, no matter how much they achieve, something inside remains unsettled, unsatisfied, longing for more. This longing is not a mistake. It is not a flaw. It is not something to be ignored or suppressed. It is a divine imprint placed within you by the Creator Himself, calling you back to the only thing that can truly satisfy, the presence of God. Whether you realize it or not, whether you have acknowledged it or spent years running from it, this hunger for something more is not about what you lack in the physical world. It is about what your soul is missing. The world cannot fill a void that was designed to be occupied by the eternal. No amount of success, pleasure, or human approval can take the place of what only God can give. There is a restlessness in the heart of man, an emptiness that no earthly thing can cure. You may have felt it in the quiet moments, in the stillness of the night when all the noise fades away and you are left alone with your thoughts. You may have sensed it in moments of triumph, when you achieved what you thought would make you happy, only to realize that the joy was fleeting, temporary, and unable to truly satisfy. You may have experienced it in times of loss, when everything you relied on crumbled and you were forced to face the reality that nothing in this life is permanent. This longing, this ache, is not meant to torment you. It is meant to lead you. It is meant to guide you to the one place where true fulfillment can be found. So many people search their whole lives, but they search in the wrong places. They look for peace in temporary pleasures, for meaning in worldly accomplishments, for joy in things that were never meant to be the source of their identity, and when these things fail them, they become disillusioned, bitter, and lost. They assume that if success did not satisfy them, if relationships did not complete them, if recognition did not fill the void, then perhaps nothing ever will. But they are looking in the wrong direction. The longing they feel is not for something, but for someone. It is not about achieving, earning, or attaining. It is about encountering the very presence of the one who created them. The one who knows them better than they know themselves. The one who designed their hearts to be filled with his love alone. This is why so many people feel empty despite having everything they thought they wanted. Because the human soul was never meant to survive apart from God. Just as the body cannot survive without food, without water, without air, the spirit cannot thrive without the presence of the one who breathed life into it. It is why people who have everything the world calls success can still feel completely lost, and why those who have very little in the eyes of the world can experience a joy and peace that is unshakable. True satisfaction is not found in what you have, it is found in who you know. And the greatest fulfillment any human being can ever experience is not found in money, fame, or power, but in knowing and dwelling in the presence of the living God. But the tragedy is that so many do not realize this. They run from the very thing their soul longs for. They resist, they fight, they try to fill the void with everything but the one thing that was meant to be there. They distract themselves with busyness, drown out the quiet moments with noise, and convince themselves that if they just had a little more success, more love, more excitement, then they would finally be content. But deep down, they know the truth. There is only one thing that will ever satisfy, and that is to be in his presence, to know him, to walk with him, to experience the closeness, the love, and the peace that comes only from him. If you have felt this longing, if you have sensed this hunger in your soul, do not ignore it. Do not run from it. Do not try to silence it with things that will never satisfy. This hunger is a gift. It is an invitation. It is the voice of the one who loves you, calling you back to himself. It is the greatest cry of your heart, and the answer is closer than you think. You do not have to search the world to find what you have been looking for all along. You only have to turn to him, and when you do, you will finally understand the hunger was never for the things of this world. It was always for his presence. The presence of God is not found through effort, intellect, or striving. It is found in absolute surrender. This is one of the greatest truths that so many struggle to understand. People believe that if they try hard enough, if they do enough good things, if they pray with enough intensity, they will somehow earn the right to experience him. They believe they must reach a certain level of spiritual perfection before they can encounter the divine. But this is the greatest mistake, because God is not looking for those who strive, he is looking for those who surrender. The presence of God is not given to those who fight for it, but to those who lay themselves down. Surrender is not an easy thing for human nature. We are taught to be strong, to be independent, to take control of our lives and fight for what we want. From the time we are children, we are conditioned to believe that if we want something, we must work for it. If we desire success, we must achieve it. If we desire recognition, we must earn it. And so we apply this same mentality to our spiritual lives, believing that if we just try a little harder, if we just prove ourselves worthy, then we will finally experience the fullness of God's presence. But the truth is the exact opposite. His presence is not given to those who prove themselves, but to those who admit their need. The reason so many fail to experience the presence of God is because they are still holding on. They are holding on to their own strength, their own wisdom, their own plans, their own desires. They want God, but they also want control. They want his presence, but they do not want to let go of the things that are keeping them from it. And so they live their lives constantly searching, constantly reaching, but never fully encountering what they long for. Because the presence of God is not found in striving. It is found in the moment you say, I give up. I cannot do this on my own. To surrender is to release. It is to let go of every weight, every fear, every need to control, and to place everything in his hands. It is to say, God, I trust you more than I trust myself. I trust your plans more than my own. I trust your timing, even when I do not understand it. Surrender is not about giving up in defeat. It is about stepping into the greatest victory. It is in surrender that you finally step out of your own way and allow God to move in the way he has always wanted to. Many people believe that surrender means weakness. They fear that if they let go, they will lose everything. But the reality is that surrender is the only way to truly gain everything. Jesus said, "Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." This is not just about eternity. It is about experiencing the fullness of his presence here and now. The more you hold on, the more you struggle. The more you let go, the more you receive. When you finally surrender, you begin to understand that what you were clinging to was never worth keeping in the first place. The plans you thought were so important, the things you were afraid to release, none of them compare to what God has in store. God does not force his presence on anyone. He does not push his way into a life that is too full of other things. He waits. He waits for the moment when you realize that nothing else will satisfy. He waits for the moment when you finally come to the end of yourself. And in that moment, when you let go of your pride, your fears, your need for control, he comes. His presence fills the empty places. His peace replaces the striving. His love overwhelms every doubt. And you realize that what you were searching for all along was never found in your own strength, but in the moment you gave it all up. There is a reason why so many who experience the presence of God describe it as overwhelming. It is because they are encountering the love, the power, the goodness of God in a way they never could have by their own efforts. It is because for the first time, they are not trying to reach him. They are simply receiving him. And that is the secret. God's presence is not something you achieve, and you can only receive when your hands are empty, when your heart is open, when you have surrendered everything else. Surrender is not a one-time event. It is a daily decision. Every day you have the choice to hold on to your own way or to release it to him. Every day you have the opportunity to say, "Not my will, but yours." And every time you make that choice, every time you surrender, you make room for more of him. You step further into his presence. You experience more of his peace, his love, his joy. You begin to live, not in your own strength, but in the power of his spirit. If you've been searching for God's presence, if you've been longing to experience him in a deeper way, then ask yourself, what are you still holding on to? What is keeping you from fully surrendering? Are you afraid of losing control? Are you afraid of what he might ask you to let go of? Do you still believe that you must work for what he freely gives? Whatever it is, lay it down, give it to him. The moment you do, you will find that he was there all along, waiting, longing to fill you with his presence. Surrender is the key. Not effort, not striving, not perfection, just surrender. And in that moment, when you finally let go, when you finally say, "God, I give you everything," you will find what your soul has been longing for all along. His presence, his love, his peace. And in that presence, you will never be the same again. The presence of God is not something distant, reserved only for a chosen few, or for those who seem to have reached a certain level of spiritual perfection. It is not something that is given only to the holiest or to those who have studied the deepest theological truths. The presence of God is for everyone. It is for the broken, the weak, the desperate, the searching. It is for those who feel unworthy, for those who have failed, for those who have wandered far away. The presence of God is not earned. It is given freely to those who desire him above all else. So many people live their lives feeling as if they are on the outside looking in. They hear of others experiencing God, feeling his touch, knowing his voice, and they wonder, why not me? Why does it seem so easy for them but so difficult for me? They convince themselves that something must be wrong with them, that perhaps they have made too many mistakes, that perhaps God is holding himself back because they are not good enough. But the truth is this: God is not far away. He has never been far away. He is closer than you think, waiting, longing for you to recognize that his presence is not something you must work for. It is something you must simply receive. The greatest barrier to experiencing the presence of God is not sin, not failure, not even weakness. It is unbelief. It is the belief that he is distant, that he is hard to find, that he only comes to those who have done everything right. This belief keeps so many people from stepping into what is already theirs. They spend their lives searching for something they already have access to. They wait for a feeling, for a moment, for some undeniable sign, when all along, the presence of God has been right there, waiting for them to simply acknowledge it. God's presence is not dependent on emotion. It is not dependent on whether you feel worthy or whether you feel spiritual enough. It is not something that comes and goes based on how well you have performed. It is constant, it is unchanging. The problem is never that God is absent. The problem is that we allow the noise, the distractions, the doubts to convince us that he is not there. We look to our circumstances, to our feelings, to our own sense of worthiness, and when we do not perceive him the way we expect to, we assume that he is withdrawn. But God has never withdrawn. He is still there, as present as ever. It is we who have allowed the cares of this world, the worries, the guilt, the distractions, to blind us to what is already true. There is a simple but powerful truth that can transform the way you experience the presence of God. He is with you right now. In this very moment, his presence surrounds you. Whether you feel it or not, whether you are aware of it or not, he is there. The moment you begin to believe this truth, the moment you let go of the idea that you must reach him and instead recognize that he is already near, everything changes. Because faith is the key that unlocks the awareness of his presence, not effort, not striving, not waiting for the perfect spiritual moment. Just faith. Faith is not about convincing yourself of something that is not real. It is about aligning yourself with what is already true. When you begin to walk in faith, when you begin to say, God, I may not feel you, but I know you are here. When you begin to trust that his presence is not based on your worthiness, but on his love, then you begin to experience him in a way you never have before. Because you are no longer trying to find him, you are simply recognizing that he was there all along. So many people struggle because they have made the presence of God about themselves. They have made it about their ability, their feelings, their efforts. But the presence of God has never been about you. It has always been about him. He is the one who calls, the one who reaches out, the one who desires to be close. Your job is not to earn his presence. It is to receive it. To stop striving, to stop questioning, to stop waiting for a feeling, and instead to say, God, I believe you are here because he is. Right now, in this moment. He has never left you, and he never will. If you have been struggling to experience the presence of God, if you have felt distant, if you have wondered why others seem to find him so easily while you are left searching, then know this. The presence of God is already yours. It is not something you must work for. It is not something he gives only to the most deserving. It is not something you have to reach out and grab. It is something you already have. The only thing you must do is believe. Believe that he is near. Believe that he has never left you. Believe that his love for you is not based on how good you are, but on how good he is. The moment you choose to believe, the moment you choose to accept that his presence is already with you, everything changes. You begin to recognize what was always there. You begin to experience the peace, the love, the joy that comes from knowing that you are never alone. You begin to walk not in fear, not in doubt, but in the confidence that the God of the universe is with you every step of the way. There is nothing you must do to earn this. There is no list of requirements you must meet. There is only one thing necessary: faith. Faith that he is who he says he is. Faith that he is as close as he promises to be. Faith that even when you do not feel him, even when you cannot see him, he is still there. And when you choose to walk in that faith, you will find that his presence was never far. He was with you all along, waiting for you to simply open your heart and believe. There is a hunger within every human soul, a deep and unshakable longing for something more, something beyond the temporary, something that cannot be satisfied by the things of this world. People search in many places, chasing success, relationships, material wealth, or even religious traditions, yet they still find themselves empty, longing for something they cannot name. This hunger is not a weakness, nor is it a flaw. It is the very evidence that we were created for more. It is the proof that we were made for something beyond what this world can offer. It is the cry of the soul for the presence of the one who created it. Many people go through life feeling disconnected, restless, and unfulfilled because they have tried to satisfy this hunger with things that were never meant to satisfy. They pour themselves into their work, into relationships, into entertainment, into personal achievements, and for a while they may feel satisfied. But soon enough, the emptiness returns, and they find themselves searching once more. This cycle continues until they come to the realization that what they are seeking is not something that can be found in the world. What they are searching for is the presence of the divine. The longing they feel is not for success, not for recognition, not even for happiness. It is for God himself. The tragedy is that so many people go through life never realizing this truth. They feel the emptiness. They recognize the hunger, but they do not understand what it is pointing them toward. They mistake it for a need for more achievement, more possessions, more experiences, and they keep running in circles, always searching, never finding. But the moment a person understands that their hunger is spiritual, that their soul is crying out for its creator, everything changes. They stop looking in the wrong places. They stop trying to fill the void with things that were never meant to satisfy. They turn instead to the only one who can truly fill them, the one whose presence is the answer to every longing, every restlessness, every unfulfilled desire. The presence of God is not just an experience, not just a moment of spiritual emotion. It is the fulfillment of the deepest need within the human heart. It is what we were created for. It is the reason we exist, to know Him, to walk with Him, to experience Him. This is what brings true satisfaction. And yet, so many people hesitate, unsure of how to find what they are searching for. They have been told that God is distant, that He is hard to reach, that only the holiest and most devout can experience Him. They believe that they must be perfect, that they must do everything right, that they must somehow earn the privilege of His presence. But this is not the truth. The presence of God is not something that is given only to a select few. It is available to all who seek Him with an open heart. To experience His presence, to be filled with the fullness of God, requires only one thing: surrender. It is not about striving, not about working harder, not about proving yourself worthy. It is about coming to Him as you are, with all your weaknesses, all your failures, all your imperfections, and simply saying, "Lord, I need you." It is about recognizing that nothing else can satisfy, that nothing else can take His place. It is about letting go of the distractions, the doubts, the fear that tells you that He is far away, and simply stepping into the reality that He is near. God's presence is not something that must be chased, it is something that must be received. The reason so many people struggle is that they are still holding on to the things that keep them from fully surrendering. They are still trying to maintain control, still trying to find fulfillment in things other than Him. But the moment they let go, the moment they open their hearts completely, His presence floods in, because He has been waiting all along. He has been calling, drawing, longing for them to turn to Him. And the moment they do, the emptiness is filled, the hunger is satisfied, the restlessness is replaced with peace. This is what we were created for. Not for a life of striving, not for a life of chasing things that will never satisfy, but for a life lived in the presence of the one who loves us. This is why the hunger exists in every human heart, because we were made for Him. And until we recognize this truth, we will continue to search, continue to struggle, continue to feel that deep sense of something missing. But the moment we stop searching in the wrong places, the moment we turn our hearts fully to Him, everything changes. The presence of God is not a distant dream, not an unreachable goal. It is here, it is available, it is waiting. No matter how far you feel, no matter how empty you have been, no matter how many times you have tried to fill the void with things that cannot satisfy, the answer is the same. He is calling you. He is drawing you. He is waiting for you to surrender. And when you do, when you open your heart and allow Him to fill you, you will finally know what it means to be truly satisfied. You will finally understand that the presence of God is not just an experience, it is life itself. There is a misconception that encountering the presence of God is a rare event, reserved for a chosen few or for moments of extraordinary spiritual intensity. Many believe that His presence is distant, something that must be earned through relentless striving, endless effort, and religious perfection. But this belief is not the truth. The presence of God is not an exclusive privilege. It is a gift freely given to all who seek Him. The reason so many struggle to find it is not because He is far away, but because they have not yet learned to recognize Him in the simplicity of everyday life. God's presence is not confined to grand moments, to church services, or to supernatural manifestations. It is not something that comes and goes depending on our worthiness. His presence is always there. It surrounds us, fills every moment, every breath, every ordinary detail of our lives. The problem is not that He is absent, it is that we are often too distracted to see Him, too caught up in our own worries, our own routines, our own expectations of how He should appear. We look for dramatic signs, for undeniable proof, for an overwhelming encounter that leaves us shaken. But in doing so, we often miss the quiet ways He reveals Himself every single day. God speaks in the stillness. He moves in the ordinary. He whispers in the moments when we least expect it. But if we are too busy, too preoccupied, too consumed with the noise of life, we will not hear him. We will not see him, not because he is not there, but because we are not paying attention. Many cry out, asking why they cannot feel his presence, why he seems distant, why their prayers feel empty. But often, the reason is not that God is withdrawn, it is that they have allowed their own distractions to drown him out. They have filled their lives with so much noise, so much busyness, so much worry, that they have no room left to simply be still and know that he is near. To experience the presence of God, we must learn to quiet our hearts. We must learn to slow down, to create space for him, to let go of the constant need to be in control. His presence is not found in striving, in trying to force an encounter, in anxiously wondering if we are doing enough. It is found in surrender, in letting go of everything that crowds him out. It is found in learning to recognize him in the small moments, the gentle sunrise, the quiet peace that washes over us, the unexplainable joy in the middle of hardship. His presence is not something we must beg for. It is something we must learn to notice, something we must become sensitive to, something we must allow ourselves to embrace. Many people assume that being in the presence of God means feeling an overwhelming wave of emotion, and while there are moments when his presence may be felt in a powerful way, it is not always about feelings. God is not limited to emotions. His presence is just as real when we feel nothing, just as near when we do not sense him. Faith is not about waiting for a feeling. It is about choosing to believe that he is present regardless of what we feel. It is about trusting that he is near even when everything around us seems silent. The greatest barrier to experiencing his presence is often our own expectations. We expect him to come in a certain way, to speak in a certain voice, to move in ways that fit our understanding. And when he does not, we assume he is not there. But God does not always move according to our expectations. He does not always appear in the ways we anticipate. He is not limited by human understanding. And when we let go of the need to control how he moves, when we stop trying to dictate the terms of how he should reveal himself, we begin to see that he was there all along. His presence is constant. It is unchanging. It does not depend on us. It depends on him. And he has already promised that he will never leave, never forsake, never withdraw from those who seek him. The invitation is always open. The door is never closed. And the only thing that keeps us from stepping into his presence is our own unwillingness to let go of the things that hold us back. It is our own resistance, our own distractions, our own doubts. But the moment we choose to surrender, to quiet our hearts, to become aware of him in the stillness, we will find that he has been waiting for us all along. There is no formula, no checklist, no secret method to experiencing his presence. It is not something to be earned, not something to be achieved, not something that comes only when we have done everything perfectly. It is a gift. It is grace. It is freely given to all who are willing to receive it. And the only thing required of us is to be still, to let go, and to allow ourselves to be aware of the one who is already near. No matter how distant you may feel, no matter how many times you have wondered if he is truly there, the truth remains the same. He is not far. He is not hiding. He is not waiting for you to reach a certain level of holiness before he reveals himself. He is already with you. He has been with you from the beginning, in every moment, in every breath, in every ordinary second of your life. And the moment you choose to recognize him, the moment you stop searching for something extraordinary and simply become aware of his presence in the quiet, you will realize that he has never left you. You will understand that his presence is not something to be chased. It is something to be received. It is something to be embraced. It is something that was always there, waiting for you to notice. There is a hunger deep within the human soul, a longing that cannot be satisfied by anything this world offers. People chase after success, after relationships, after wealth, after recognition, believing that these things will bring them the fulfillment they seek. Yet time and time again, they are left empty. They reach the highest peaks of achievement only to realize that something is still missing. They gather everything they thought they needed, only to feel the ache of an unfulfilled heart. That hunger, that longing, is the soul's cry for the presence of God. It is a thirst that can only be quenched by him, a need that nothing else can satisfy. Many people go through life searching for something they cannot define. They look for meaning, for purpose, for something that makes their existence feel complete. But they search in the wrong places. They look to the world hoping that the right circumstances, the right success, the right relationships will bring them peace. Yet, no matter how much they acquire, how much they achieve, they are still restless. That restlessness is a sign that their souls were never meant to be filled by earthly things. It is proof that the deepest parts of the human heart were designed for something greater, something eternal. There is a reason why no amount of worldly success can bring lasting peace. The human heart was created for fellowship with the divine. It was designed to live in constant communion with its creator. And when that connection is missing, when the presence of God is absent, there is a void that nothing else can fill. People try to silence that void with distractions, with entertainment, with busyness. They drown it in noise, in endless pursuits, in temporary pleasures. But no matter how much they try to cover it up, it remains. No matter how much they try to ignore it, it lingers. Because the soul knows what it was made for. It was created to dwell in the presence of God. The presence of God is not just a religious idea. It is not something reserved for church services or spiritual experiences. It is the very essence of life itself. It is the source of true peace, true joy, true fulfillment. And without it, life becomes a hollow existence. An endless cycle of chasing things that were never meant to satisfy. The reason so many people feel lost, the reason so many feel like something is missing is because they have not yet encountered the presence of the one who created them. They have not yet allowed themselves to receive the only thing that can truly make them whole. To find the presence of God is to find the answer to the deepest questions of the heart. It is to find the fulfillment that nothing else can provide. It is to experience a peace that surpasses understanding, a joy that does not fade, a love that is unshakable. But to enter into his presence, one must be willing to let go of everything else. One must be willing to surrender the need to control, to release the grip on earthly distractions, to set aside the pursuit of things that do not last. The presence of God is not found in striving, it is found in surrender. It is not earned through effort, it is received through faith. Many hesitate to seek the presence of God because they feel unworthy. They believe they must first fix themselves, must first reach a certain level of holiness, must first become perfect before they can come before him. But that is not the truth. God does not wait for people to become worthy before he welcomes them. He does not require perfection before he pours out his love. His presence is not for the perfect. It is for the broken, for the weary, for those who recognize their need for him. It is not a reward for those who have achieved righteousness. It is a gift for those who come in humility, knowing that without him, they are nothing. The invitation to enter into his presence is always open. It is not limited to a select few. It is not restricted to those who have reached a certain level of spiritual maturity. It is for everyone who is willing to receive it. But the choice to step into his presence is one that each person must make for themselves. God will not force his presence upon anyone. He will not impose himself where he is not welcomed. He is always near, always waiting, always ready to pour out his love. But he will not override the human heart's ability to choose. And so the question is not whether God is willing to be present in our lives. The question is whether we are willing to receive him. Those who truly seek the presence of God will find it. Those who are willing to let go of their distractions, to quiet their hearts, to turn away from everything that keeps them from him, will encounter him in ways beyond what they ever imagined. Because God does not hide from those who seek him. He does not withhold himself from those who long for him. He is not distant, not unreachable, not hidden behind impossible barriers. He is close, he is near, and the moment a heart turns toward him in genuine surrender, he responds. The moment a soul cries out for him in desperation, he answers. Because he has never been far away. He has only been waiting for an invitation. There is no greater fulfillment than living in the presence of God. No earthly treasure, no worldly success, no temporary pleasure can compare to the peace and joy that come from being near to him. And once a person truly experiences his presence, they will never want to live without it again. Because nothing else can satisfy. Nothing else can fill the deepest places of the heart. Nothing else can bring the kind of transformation, the kind of healing, the kind of wholeness that his presence brings. This is the invitation. To stop running after things that do not last. To stop searching for fulfillment in places that can never provide it. To stop chasing after what was never meant to satisfy. This is the call to return to the one who created the soul, the one who holds the answers, the one who is the source of everything the heart has ever longed for. The presence of God is not far away. It is not hidden. It is waiting. And the only thing left to do is to say yes, to surrender, to step into the fullness of life that can only be found in Him.